Welcome to the fourth session of A Bridge Over Troubled Waters. This presentation is for parents, caregivers and professionals, especially those who are working with children and teenagers who are stressed and or distressed, thus causing concern for the adults in their life, whether they're caregivers, friends of the family or professionals. This is session 4 and there are 10 sessions, all free and available through Facebook. This session, session 4, is all about engagement and re-engagement for you and your young person. I hope you enjoy it. This section is about what makes your young person tick. There are 3 key things we are going to need to do if we want to engage or re-engage with a child or teen. Firstly, we need to work out what makes your young person or teen tick so that you can tailor a plan as to what you're working with. Start communicating with them, even if they don't communicate back. Just do it and keep doing it, but only with the right attitude. There's to be no rolling of eyes, no attitude on your part. They may do attitude, that's fine, you ignore it. The second thing that we need to do is find ways to re-engage with your young person or teenager and build the emotional bank account. Otherwise, there is going to be little helpful communication. Organize activities to do together is a good way to build the emotional bank account. Staying truthful to what you say is another, and always keeping above the moral high ground. Your aim as an adult to a child is to keep them safe. That is also another way of building the emotional bank account. And thirdly, building respect. And right now, there is a strong possibility that your young person has little or no respect for you. Whether you are a parent, a grandparent, a caregiver, a professional, or a neighbour next door, you build respect by always being respectful, regardless of whether the other person is respectful to you or not. Mary understanding and engaging with Ricky. Mary's concern was that although she knew she loved her son, she was pretty sure she didn't understand him. She felt disconnected and frustrated by him. She caught herself feeling pressured and resentful. She thought about this too, and did the only thing she could think of. She acknowledged the guilt and the justifying feelings and moved on. It took 2 or 3 days for her to formulate her plan of attack. The action that Mary took. There was a classic and vintage car show coming to town the next week. She bought 2 tickets. She knew Ricky would like this. They hadn't done anything together for years. She and he were going. No ifs, no buts, no, you have to be good. They were just going to go. Mary had no real interest in wrecks of old cars or old cars with swooped-up engines, but her son had, so she would learn. She vowed to herself to never moan, not even once. 3. Mary got a serious stack of library books out for her to bone up about vintage cars. She made sure she read every one of them and refrained from asking questions unless Ricky brought it up first. She wanted to be able to at least talk intelligently about them. Good modelling, Mary. Well done. 4. She got a collection of classic DVDs out about old cars from the library. They were so ancient they were free. And 5. The tickets were not cheap. She kept her mouth shut about that, but packed a picnic for lunch with foods that she knew he didn't just like, but loved. What actually happened? Ricky watched, unasked, a couple of the DVDs with Mary. The second time he did it, he asked if he could pause it and he could make popcorn for them both. That was a first. The car show was a success, though hugely tiring for Mary. The next time he was stroppy, she avoided saying, "Look what I did for you." Ricky has joined the local vintage car club. A couple of the guys have taken him under their wing. They will organise him being picked up and dropped off again. It is 2 nights a month that Mary does not have to worry about him, with the odd weekend meeting and outing thrown in. She makes sure that she goes along to at least half the extra activities. Ricky and the neighbour have had fun trawling the internet, though only if Ricky can prove he was at school that day. So together they are finding out what Ricky should buy in 2 years' time with his savings. Ricky has never had a savings plan before, but then he's never had pocket money either. Mary instigated a very basic roster, and if he does his chores and abides by the basic behaviour and maintains a reasonable attitude, he gets his pocket money. Ricky, with a little help from the neighbour, turned in a smashingly good project for science. He did it on diesel versus petrol, using the history of the motor industry as his basis. He hadn't even managed a C+ before, but this time he got an A+. Mum took Ricky and the neighbour out for tea that weekend as a treat. Gran didn't go, but she gave $25 towards the expenses. Ricky is actively and realistically searching for a part-time job to grow his savings. Ricky asked Mum, semi-jokingly, "What's next?" She didn't tell him, but she is plotting and saving for some scuba diving lessons for them both. He used to love swimming, and he always was asking for an aquarium when he was a kid. She thought she might get a 4-day cheap stay and flight for them both to the Gold Coast. Lots of reefs with fancy fish. That would be what he would like. Gran had given her $100 towards it, and Dad and Felicity had given her $200. Things would be tight, but she reckoned with that and her savings she could manage it. Using Mary's story as a bit of a guide, you might like to write out your own plan for engaging and re-engaging with each of your children. Be as specific as you can. Here is some food for thought about your relationship with your children. Have passion, be fully present and really listening to them all the time. Put the potato peeler down, sit down and listen to them. Be compassionate, not sympathetic. Journey in their shoes sometimes. If they're saying they have a hard time at school, listen to them and then help them problem solve it in whatever way you can. Think about forgiveness and restoration. Build up, don't tear apart. This is both for you and your child, and for you and the significant other people in the child's life. If they don't see you forgiving and being restorative and building those people up, then they won't believe when you try to be forgiving and restoring and building them up. Understand about vulnerable strength. Know being open and honest and thoughtful and caring provides a solid foundation. Our children learn by example from us, and they need to know that they are showing incredible strength when they are being open and honest, thoughtful and caring. Demonstrate being a hero, a champion, and play the role of the good listener. Show people you really care. Unless it is your problem, it is not yours to fix though. So always help people with their problems, but you don't have to be the hero in the way of fixing their problem. You need to be the hero in listening and showing that you care. From this, your children will see how to be good friends with the people around them. What builds a good brain? Your child needs a good brain to best engage with you, and there are 3 key things that are needed to build a good brain or enhance a damaged one. These are true for all of us, not just a young person or a teen. So they apply whether we are 4, 14 or 104. The first is repeated experiences, activation, learning and getting it right. We all learn by getting it right. The more we get it right, the more we will get it right, especially if there is praise and acknowledgement for getting it right. Secondly, we need healthy brain chemicals and fats for brain development. A good diet helps with this. Plenty of foods rich in B vitamins, protein, iron, plus some good fats like fish oil or flax oil, and the like. Water. The brain cannot function without water. Fizzy, sugary drinks and coffee, etc. do not help and should be avoided. Research clearly demonstrates that children and young adults up to 25 years of age who frequently watch aggression, as in domestic violence or violence on TV, computers, movies and the like, will produce chemicals which in turn affect the brain and cause damage. It is the same with stress and anxiety. Homes need to be child-centered if there is a child in them. The third thing that they need is sleep and rest. The brain will not develop properly, nor will learning be consolidated unless there is adequate sleep. Children and teens need 10 hours of good sleep a night, as their brain is still forming, and it will be forming until they are 25 at least. Think about your young person's brain. So, how do you rate yourself and the other adults involved for providing your young person with, in the first case, a diet rich in B vitamins, protein, iron and good fats? It might be an idea to make a list of all the good fats and the fats to avoid. Also, while you're at it, you could perhaps make a list of drinks and foods to be avoided. How much violence and aggression does your child see? And does your child get 10 hours sleep a night? And if you're not providing the things that your young person needs for their brain to function, what are you going to do about it? So there we have a little bit of a challenge. Over to you. These are sometimes called your conflict resolution tools. So going over the diagram, first of all, we need to use self-discipline. So that's us using self-discipline. We need to think about collaboration, which is involving everybody. We need to feel confident and assume a confident stance, and we always need to be respectful. So the first is consultation. So when things are going wrong, or when you have something that you need to discuss with someone, you need to talk things through, talk about it, share. Don't play mind games, so no secrets. Communication and negotiation are the name of the game. Develop good decision-making and conflict resolution skills and feel confident with them. Participation and inclusion. This is about doing the right thing. It's about looking for a win-win. So that is, you don't win and the other person loses, and the other person doesn't lose and you win. You need to problem solve and decision make together. Be prepared to give time for all of this. Often working from a collaborative perspective or a win-win perspective requires time. Be prepared to cooperate. Be a team player. You want to get the whole family through. You want to get the whole school through. You want your child to remain friends with the person who has done something wrong, or someone your son or daughter has done something wrong too. Always follow through. If you say you're going to do something, do it, and only lead by example. So always act on your values. So that means you have to know what your values are. Always use your manners. So again, that means that you have to know what your manners are. Stand up for what is fair and just for others. And be trustful, be honest, be kind, be fair, and be strong. Welcome to the Stop, Stand Tall, Open-Hearted and Proud diagram. This is a really useful diagram for both yourself and your young people. It's a useful diagram to print out and put up in various places around the house, and it reminds everybody how they should be using certain tools. So it's got your wits information on it, it's got the star information on it, it's got the stand up for what is fair and just for others, and it also reminds you to use your manners. It talks about not doing anything that's going to harm you, not going to do anything that's going to harm others, and it's got lots and lots of other little bits and pieces on too, which can be useful when you're trying to engage and re-engage. If you would like a copy of this diagram and you can't print it off in the format that you've got it, if you make contact with me, I will be happy to email you a copy that you can then print off. When times get tough and don't go the way that you want them to, it can be really difficult. If in the past you have flared up and shown your anger as aggression, or you have withdrawn and thus been equally unable to show your young person the love and support they need at such times, you might find it really useful to have an anger support group. Pick people who can help you with your words and your actions, people who are going to be constructive. Similarly, with a parenting support group, they don't have to be the same people. They just have to be people who will support you. We hope that this fourth session of Bridge Over Troubled Waters has provided you with more ideas about parenting positively and confidently, and how important it is for you to lead by example. The fifth session is about boundaries. The sixth session is about the role of praise and understanding. The seventh session is all about what works and problem solving. The eighth session is when I think I might lose it, what am I going to do about it? And the ninth session is all about contracts and rosters. And the 10th session, the last session, is about putting it all together and where to from now. For more information about this program and these sessions, simply check Facebook, Joy U Sylvia, or email joy@joysylvia1@gmail.com. If you found these sessions interesting and or useful, please do leave a comment, and please pass them on to your friends and family anywhere you think they might be useful. Thank you. Here are the 4 books that I currently have published. They're all available on Amazon, or you can go to my website if you wish to purchase them locally. So we have A Bridge Over Troubled Waters, a guide for managing tricky teenage behaviours. It is easy to follow and apply and has been designed to equip both the caregiver and the professional with effective strategies for the seemingly relentless onslaught of difficult and sometimes frightening behaviours caregivers and professionals have to manage in today's society. The diagrams, together with the insightful real-life stories of parents working through the material, bring about an attitude and belief that change is indeed possible. Say No to Bullying: Factors, Challenges and Strategies. This book helps the weak become strong and the supposedly tough become true heroes. This is a book about a nasty and vicious topic that will warm the cockles of your heart. It is amazingly easy to read and hard to put down. Whether the players in these intricate and often complex bullying situations are primary school age children, teenagers, parents, work colleagues, staff, or residents in a rest home, this book explains how to deal with it and how to help the players grow, feel good about themselves and their actions, and find appropriate power. dealing with difficult people, managing conflict, bloody-mindedness, and other intercommunicational difficulties at home and at work. Heaps of information, diagrams, and life stories to help you deal appropriately with and confidently with those difficult people in your life who misuse power, threaten, and/or play mind games. Project Alpha. This is an exciting New Zealand-based adventure mystery series for young teens, so about 10 years to 14 years old. The plot involves the kidnapping of the Project Alpha CEO, with the baddies intent on stealing 3 active satellites, disabling the worldwide GPS system, and generally attempting to take over the world. So the odds are heavily stacked against Jimmy and his band of oddball adults, including the FBI, NASA, Interpol, and several New Zealand Defence Force representatives. Jimmy's mission is to save the world and capture the bad guys. Jimmy's mum has sent him to stay with his Uncle Ben, an astrophysicist and computer games designer, who lives in a remote part of the West Coast Alpine region on the station that houses the observatory and the labs of Project Alpha. As an experienced social worker with a passion for personal and community development, I have particularly enjoyed the ability to weave narrative that can surreptitiously help young people deal with anxiety, difficult backgrounds, new situations, learn how to problem solve, and take appropriate self-responsibility.